Okay, so here we are, we're backstage and we're preparing our next look, which is beachy waves. It doesn't look like beachy waves yet, but they soon will. So we've gone through and we've done, as you see, most of the head here, and what we've done is, because we had a little bit of waiting time, we like scrunched the curls up onto themselves and then just pinned them very lightly with a little pin grip, just to let them cool, and that way they'll last a lot longer. So you get much more sort of spring into them and a longer lasting wave if you let it cool. And that's the thing to think of when you're working with heated tools, is that basically what you're doing is you're setting the hair. So you're heating the hair up, you're changing the form of it, and until it's cold, it's not going to stay there. So very important, don't be in a rush to brush out the curls once they're set, because if they're not completely cold or cool, they're just going to fall out or they won't last as long. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you how to curl the hair. And the trick is, one mistake a lot of people make is when they wind the hair, they start here and they wind around the head and they keep winding in the same direction. What you want to do is you want to wind from the front and to the back, and then from the front and to the back. And the reason you do that is so that you get a nice open wave or a nice open curl around the face. And what we'll do is we'll go all the way into the root here because we want a little bit of width. So we start at the top and wind it in like so. Don't worry about that little bit of smoke coming up because it's just steam and it's residue. Now it's warm. Grab it like so, roll it up, and then we grab a pin and just pin it down. Ta-da! So what I'll do now is I'm going to continue through. I'll do one more section here because it's quite thin, and then we'll take 2 sections in through the top and wind back. If you only have one size of a curling wand at home and you want to change the effect on the curl, you can do that simply just by changing the size of your section. So if you take a wider section or a thicker section with more hair and you wind it up, you get a looser curl. If you want it more tight, take a finer section, wind it up, and you'll get a tighter curl. So one thing to think of, guys, is this. When you do wind, make sure that you get the hair quite flat onto the iron. So you take your time to do it carefully because you get a much more natural wave. It won't be lumpy, or it'll be nice and smooth. Like so, wind it in, and then we release, catch it, and wind it in. And just continue all the way to the top. So what we're doing here, guys, is, because we don't want the curls to start, or the waves to start too high on Andrea, we want them to drop down a little bit first, so they're sitting just around the cheekbone. So if you think the hair drops and then it opens up around the cheekbone, what it actually does, it enhances the cheekbone so that you're really working with the face shape there. So what we do is we hold the hair a little bit lower. Don't worry if some small hairs fall out, that will just keep it looking like hair. And start lower down, as you see. So we're in line with the cheekbone. And what I'm doing is I'm leaving the ends a little bit loose. I'm not winding it all the way down. Release. Grab it. Wind it in. And then we pin. Last section, once again. So at home, it might be a little bit difficult to do all these steps and pin it and hold it and deal with your iron, but you get the idea. Take it easy, it's worthwhile. If you want your waves to last the whole day and maybe even the evening, put the effort in to heat it up, cool it down, use the right products. Key point as well is to get a really good foundation into your hair so that if you use a good mousse and you blow dry that into the hair, once again, of course, your waves will last longer. The last one, pulling forward just a touch, and the reason we pull forward is because when you pull hair forward, it automatically wants to push back. So you get more dynamic to the curl. By moving it off the base, the hair will push back easier for you. So let it heat up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Release. It's quite hot on the hand now, so be prepared. What we'll do now, as you see, we've wound the hair from the bottom up, just kept the sections nice and clean, pinned everything in. We're going to let that cool now, and once it's cool, we'll come back, release all of the pins and brush it out. And I'll be back with you in a second to show you how to do that. All right, so now we're back. In the meantime, while Andrea's been waiting for the hair to cool, I've done her makeup for you. She's been sitting in smink over here and getting a new look for the next shot that we're going to take. So now, as we discussed, we have let the hair cool down. So now the hair is set. It's just a matter of starting to, from the bottom, pull out all of these little pins and let the hair drop out. At this point, you don't want to do anything. Just let them fall and relax a touch, and then continue to pull the pins out. This is going to take me a little bit of time, so I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, so as you see at the moment, everything's really stuck together, and that's really how we want it. It means that the hair is set really well. And we can just start to pull now with our fingers and just start to loosen it up. Now this is the trick. I mean, a lot of the times, you'll see sometimes the curls are left together and they're even sprayed together. And that's cool, that's one look, but this way, if you really brush through the hair, you get like a powdery product into the hair, you get a much sexier, sort of more natural, cool feel to it. We start by just running our fingers through, and then just start from underneath and we brush, like so. Just loosen the whole lot up. Now remembering, we don't have any finishing product in the hair at the moment, it's purely styling. So this should give us a nice loose, almost Victoria's Secret sort of wave. And you can sometimes find it might need you might need to brush it through a few times just to really get the right texture. You can see what sort of effect we're starting to get there. It's really cool. And as you add in things like, we'll probably, for this particular look, we'll probably use a dry shampoo. And a dry shampoo basically just takes out all of the moisture. And some of them, like the one I'm going to use, which is Fresh Hair by Kevin Murphy, it's quite powdery. So it gives it an even more sort of like powdery, angelic look. If you want to get some more separation into the look, you can use a thing like Easy Rider, which is probably one of my favorite all-time products, which is this one, which is just a very, very light and creamy paste, which you can work through the mid-lengths and ends. Looks super cool. Don't go so much towards the roots, because then it can start to look a little bit dirty. But if you just get a small amount onto your fingers, rub it around in your hands, and then when you're going to finish, just very, very lightly work the product into the mid-lengths and ends, and you get that sort of like more sort of loose, separated feel. So now we've grabbed our Fresh Hair, which is the Kevin Murphy dry shampoo. Nice and powdery, quite light. Doesn't give you much hold, but it just gives you a sort of dustier vibe to it. And what I tend to do is work towards the roots, but also once I've got a little bit of product into the roots where I want it, then I'll just spray through the rest of the hair as well, so that I get a nice, even flow of product. And it also just, it sort of lightens it up and it makes it that sort of powdery feel as we discussed. So working a bit of that. Tend to put some on my hands for some reason and rub it in. And then we start to shake out the hair. It's better to start with it too big. You see? And one thing I tend to do as well is it's nice when you put your head forward and let the hair fall forward, and when you are going to lift up, you just grab the hair and pull it back, because you tend to get something happens. when you let the head drop down and then bring it forward. Now you can just start to just pull the hair out a little bit and see what sort of separation you've got. You can cool and pull that out a touch. Like so. And once you've got your product into it, what we can do is start to work with separation. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is give you a little insider tip. The hairdresser's trick. Easy Rider. Just a very small touch in the hand, rub it in. And then another Kevin Murphy product, which is Young Again. Oh, I need some of that. A small drop. And what it is, it's a serum. And it's very, very lightweight, which is lovely. And these two products, they mix so beautifully, so you get this silky sort of feeling in your hands. And that's what we now want to get into the hair. So once again, just going in underneath and working your hands out towards the end, like so. Staying away from the ends at this point because you've still got quite a lot of product in your hands. If you go into the ends or if you go in too tight, you're going to get a big build-up of product in one spot, which we don't want. So as the product starts to work off the hands, you literally just push it in to the focal points where you feel like you want a little bit extra product. If you've got some ends that you feel need a little bit of help. And you see, straight away you start to get this separation and shine, which is really nice. Now I want a little bit more in through the ends, so I just rub it. So I just massage it into the ends like so, in between the hands. Push it in. And then once again, come in underneath, head forward again, shake the hair out, lift it. Now you've got all the right product in there. And when we lift up, we should have some pretty sexy, cool, beachy waves. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Okay, so there's my tips. I've used the Cerawan, a middle size, wound it up, we've pinned it in, let it cool, dropped it out, we've run our fingers through the hair. We've then brushed the hair out with a cushion brush, which has got a lot of bristles on it, so you really get separation through the hair. We've then gone through with our fresh hair or our dry shampoo to get, once again, more of a powdery and more separation into the feeling. And then to get a bit more separation, we've gone in with Easy Rider and Young Again, worked into the palms, and then just massaged lightly into the hair to create this sexy, loose, beachy wave. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, folks.